Hey y'all, I'm Mary and this is Restless Chipotle Kitchen, and today we are going to make an easy sourdough bread. The first thing you're going to need is a kitchen scale. It's just the best way and the easiest way to make the sourdough. This recipe is not on my blog, but I have a recipe on the blog that's a no-knead sourdough bread that you can use measuring cups with. But this one you're going to need a kitchen scale for. And you're going to need some sourdough starter that has been fed that morning. I fed this at 8 o'clock this morning and it is 3:15 in the afternoon. It started out like that and ended up like that. So we know it's live and bubbly and ready to go. You're going to need bread flour. And I have some all-purpose flour and some gluten flour because I think that I'm going to run out of bread flour. Spring water, whatever kind, as long as it's spring water. You cannot use tap water. It will kill the yeast spores in the sourdough because of fluoride, different chemicals and stuff. You're going to need some kosher salt and your starter. And that's it. Flour, starter, water, and salt. 4 ingredients, best bread ever. I thought this would be the best way to do it because you'll be able to actually see the dough. I need to take my bracelets off. You'll actually be able to see the dough and how it goes together. The numbers on the scale are all going to be backwards though, so sorry about that. You want your scale set to grams, okay? Put a big bowl on it and then zero it out. There should be a button that says 0. Just hit that until it goes back to 0. The first thing you're going to do is, look how bubbly and nice that is. Can you see that? Look at that. Fabulous. The first thing you're going to do is take your fabulous bubbly starter and you're going to put 100 grams of starter in the bowl. And the nice thing about it is you don't even need some measuring cups. You're just going to keep an eye on the scale. So we're at 70, 79. Okay, wow, 100 grams. Okay, 102, close enough. And then you're going to zero it out again, and you're going to want to put in 350 grams of filtered water. And you don't want this to be ice cold. You want it to be warm room temperature. So watch carefully because you don't want to go over, but 350 grams. $337, $339, $352. And that was almost, I'd say 3/4 of a 16-ounce bottle of water. Take your whisk and just whisk it around so it's nice and mixed up. And then you're going to zero out again. Now we want 500 grams of flour. And that's what I'm not sure I have enough of. There's 100. There's 200. 300. 420, 430. Maybe I do. 460, 480. 500, actually 514. Need to take a little bit of that off. 512, 504, close enough. Wow, I honestly didn't expect that. I thought that I wasn't going to have enough, and it was really close, but had enough. All right, and then you're going to zero it out again, and you're going to put in, this one's a little harder, 10 grams of kosher salt, which is honestly not a lot. Keep an eye on the scale and what it says and just add it very slowly. There's 2. There's 3, 4, 5, 8, 10. Now, I'm not going to use my whisk because it's going to be thick and I don't want to tear up the whisk. But I'm going to use a whisk just on the top to get the salt kind of mixed into the flour a little bit. And then I'm going to use my wooden paddle, my wooden spatula, and just mix it up like that. And what we want to do, I'm going to take it off the scale. What we want to do is we want to mix it until there is no more dry flour in the bowl. So just keep mixing it, push down on it, get in there with your hands if you need to because this is a very thick. When you hear the term shaggy dough, that's what they're talking about. You're going to get a very thick, shaggy dough. And you're just going to mix it up until, and it's going to be very sticky, until all of the dry flour is mixed in. You might want to get in there with your hands, and I'll tell you, it'll be a lot easier on you and less sticky if you do it with wet hands. So I'm going to wet my hands a little bit and just make sure that it's all mixed in there. We're going to cover that with a clean tea towel, and we're going to walk away for an hour. And I'll see you back here then. Well, y'all, right after I finished the last part, the power went off. And I thought, well, this will be a good teaching moment. So let me tell you what to do in case that happens to you. If the power goes off while you're making bread, cover it with some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. And then just start back up on it when the power goes back on or the next time you have a chance. It'll be fine for 24 hours without any problem, as long as you keep it in the fridge, okay? If it's been in the fridge for several hours, you're gonna wanna let it warm back up a little bit before you start working with it again. So, where we left off is we had mixed up the dough, and then we were letting it set for 1 hour. So I'm gonna take this plastic wrap off, and I'm gonna wet my hands. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the dough and we're gonna stretch it. And by that, I mean we're gonna pull it up and out and fold it back over itself. And fold it back over itself. And then we're gonna pull it, we're gonna do a quarter turn and pull it up and out and put it back over itself. Quarter turn, pull it up and out. And this is much easier to do if you wet your hands before you do it. And then fold it back over itself. And one more time. Quarter turn, up and out. And by this time, it's going to be kind of elastic, and pull it back over itself. That takes about 2 minutes. I'm going to put the tea towel back over it, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the same thing with quarter turns every 30 minutes, 3 more times for a total of 4 times. Okay, takes about 2 minutes each time. And so this doesn't take a lot of hands-on time, but it does take a lot of at-home time. Okay, all right, I will see you back here in about 30 minutes. Okay, this is the second turn that we're doing. I've put some water on my hands because it makes it easier. And this dough is very wet and sticky. And we're going to do the same thing as we did last time. We're going to stretch it and pull. Fold it back over. Stretch it and pull. And the reason that we're doing this is it strengthens the fibers in the bread. And then we're going to do another turn and stretch it. And you can tell that it's getting more, the gluten is developing, and it's getting harder to like stretch with each one. Over And then one more time, I'm gonna need water one more time. And we're gonna stretch it and pull back over. And then just put the clean tea towel back over it and give it 30 more minutes. Okay, y'all, this is the third one. We have one more to go after this. I've wet my hands and we're just gonna pull up and stretch and fold over, quarter turn, pull up and stretch. And some of this that I'm doing is a little exaggerated, holding it up to this extent, just so that you can see a little better, but it's not gonna hurt it. And fold, gotta get more water. Pull up and stretch. And can you see how much more gluten has developed in this than from the first time? And then again, pull up, stretch, and fold over. Put the tea towel back over the top, and in 30 minutes, we come back and do it for the last time. Okay, this is the last one. So we're going to stretch it, fold it, turn it a quarter turn, stretch, fold, turn a quarter turn, stretch, and fold it and turn a quarter turn, and one more, stretch, and fold, and that's it. Now we're going to let it sit for about 3 hours, and when we come back, we're going to shape it, put it in the refrigerator overnight, because in the morning we're going to bake it. The longer with sourdough, the longer that it rises, the longer that it ferments, the more flavor that it develops. So making it and then planning on putting it in the refrigerator overnight so that it can develop slowly is going to give you a lot more flavor. Do you have to do it that way? No. You could technically let it rise for a couple of hours until it was doubled, shape it, let it rise again, and go ahead and bake it. But we'll talk about that in a couple of hours. Okay, y'all, it's pretty late at night, actually. Well, for me, it's late. It's like 9:30. It's honestly past my bedtime. But thanks to the power outage, we're going to be working on this late. So we did our 4 turns and folds, and then we let it set for about 4 to 5 hours. And what we have now is this nice bubbly dough. I think you can probably see the air bubbles on the top of it. That's what we want, lots of air bubbles. Now it's time to shape it. So I'm going to put a little flour on my surface, and I'm going to turn it out, and I am not going to punch it down. I don't want to lose all of that airiness. Very sticky. It's very soft dough, and I'm just going to shape it into a round. And since it is such a soft dough, you want to have something to put it in. A bowl, they have special, if you look up sourdough, they have special bowls to let it rise in, all kinds of things. But I'm just going to use a cloth, my clean tea towel, and I'm going to flour it pretty heavily. I'm going to take the excess flour out because we don't want tons of it, but we want the cloth to be pretty floured. We're going to push that down in the bowl. And take our sourdough, fold it all up to the top so that you have a round with the seam up at the top, if there is a seam. This doesn't really have a seam, I'm just pushing it together. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it right in that bowl. Just like that. I'm going to flour the top a little bit, and then I'm going to fold this over it. Just like that. Now, you can put it in the refrigerator just like that, but I like to put plastic wrap over it. So let me do that now and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my plastic wrap over the top. The reason that I like to do it that way is refrigerator smells. I've got pickles in there, if you have anything that's strong smelling in your fridge, an onion or whatever, then you don't want to flavor the dough with refrigerator smells. Now, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator until about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I'll see you back here then. Well, good morning, y'all. It is morning, and our sourdough has risen really well. It's been in the refrigerator. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show it to you. But before I start to bake it, I'm going to put it in the freezer for just a few minutes, because that will make it easier to score and take it out of the bowl. But there it is. It's all the way to the top. It's nice and bubbly. I'm going to put that in the freezer for 15 minutes, and then I'll be back. Okay. The dough has been in the freezer for about 15 minutes, and we're only putting that in there not to get frozen, but to make sure that it's firm, so when we try to score it, it doesn't tear it or cause it to deflate. Scoring the dough helps it to rise properly in the oven without splitting in odd places. It just makes it look better. If you forget to do it, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. This is a cloche. It's to bake the bread in. I got this one on Amazon, and I'll leave the link below. But you can use a Dutch oven as long as it can go in your oven. It needs to have a cover on it. It needs to be completely oven safe, okay? And what that does is it helps develop that crispy crust that we all want on our sourdough. This is a little cutter. Isn't it pretty? Got that on Amazon too. We'll link to that below. You don't need anything this fancy, but it was like, I don't know, $4.99, and it makes me happy. And this helps score the dough. You don't want to use a knife because they're just usually not thin and sharp enough to really get in there good. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that cloth off of the bread dough, and you're just going to carefully flip this over on the bottom of your cloche and pull the towel off, and try to get it centered better than I did. Yeah, I did not get that centered well at all. The more you move it, the more risk you have of breaking some of the bubbles on the inside, so you don't want to move it. Now I'm just going to sprinkle this with some flour and wish that I had been better about getting it centered. Can you see that? And I'm going to give you a better look at what I'm going to do. Just a minute. Okay, I'm just going to take it and score it. And you see really fancy ones and pretty ones, and that's really great, but I don't want my bracelet getting into it though. The fancy ones are really pretty, but really all you need to do is to cut across it. Probably could have been in the freezer just a little bit more. And then just make some wild cuts in it, you know, that's fine. Or you can do little swirly things. Some people do like flowers, whatever you want to do. Just make your design in your dough. And the oven right now is preheating to 475. So when I'm done making this mess on the dough, I will put the top on the cloche. All right. You know, I leave my mess ups in the video. I don't edit them out ever because I figure that I'm not the only person that messes up. And so y'all need to know that mess ups happen and you can come back from them. Is it going to deflate a little bit? Yes, maybe, but it'll still be fine. All right, we're going to put the top of the cloche on. And then I'm going to put that in the oven for 30 minutes. At the end of 30 minutes, I'm going to take the top off and let it go for about 10 more until the center of the bread is 200 degrees, give or take. 201, 202, you don't want it over that. You don't really want it under 195. And that's all there is to it. I'll see you back here in about 45 minutes. Well, y'all, it's all done. Here it is. It baked in the cloche. I took the top off, let it brown for about 10 minutes. And let me tell you, when you do take the top off, it might look kind of light, but within 10 minutes, it's going to be just gorgeous, okay? Smells so good in here. You have to let it cool. That's the hardest part about this whole recipe, is letting it cool, because if you cut into it when it's hot, it's going to take the crumb and it's going to mash it down and cause it to be dense, and it just doesn't work very well. So I know it's hard, but walk out of the house if you have to. Let it cool. Don't have to let it get cold, but let it cool down all the way. Okay, so now we get to cut it. So exciting. What was I going to tell y'all? Oh, what I didn't mention before was when you put it in the oven in the covered cloche, your oven temperature is going to be 475. When you take the top of the cloche off after 30 minutes, you're going to turn that down to 425 and then bake it for another 10 to 15 minutes until it registers between 200 and 205 in the center, okay? That's what I was going to tell y'all. Anything else? Oh, the other thing, I don't remember if I mentioned it because I started this video yesterday and I've slept since then. So if I didn't mention it, you can make your own sourdough starter. I have a recipe on the blog for it. It takes about a week to really get it going good. And it can be fussy. Sometimes it works. For some people, they have trouble with it. So that's just kind of up to you. When I was homeschooling, we made sourdough starter as a science project. But the other way that you can do it is get a sourdough starter from a reputable company. I'm sure there's some on Amazon. I know King Arthur has some. So whatever, wherever you want to get it from, but make sure it's reputable. And that's actually probably the easiest way to go with that, okay? All right, let's cut into this before I talk anymore. I know some of y'all think I talk too much, and you're probably right. You hear that? It sounds really good, huh? Look at the texture of that. Isn't that beautiful? That is from it having a long, well, it's got a hard bottom crust. So, did I say I never edited anything out? Maybe I want to edit this part out. Okay. Look how beautiful this is with the holes and the texture of the inside. Oh God, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. This is from letting it get a long rise time and not having too much flour in it, okay? If you put too much flour in, you're not gonna have this. Look, beautiful. Let me show you the loaf. I'm so proud of this. So good. It still was a little warm when I cut it, so it mushed down a little bit. Beautiful. All right, so then the next thing is, get our little butter keeper here. This is so cute, I just love it. This is so I can keep my butter out on the counter. It keeps it fresh for like a month. Works really, really well, and your butter is always soft. Okay, put that on. Ooh. What do you put on sourdough? I always put butter, sometimes honey. Y'all, this is so good. It's so easy, and you're gonna be making it every couple of days. I hope you try it. I know you're gonna love it if you do. One more time, look how pretty that is. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss videos, and you'll get the announcement that a video is coming up or whatever. Subscribe to the email list, you'll get all of the recipes. And honestly, my emails are kind of fun, I promise. Probably more fun than this. And what else? That's it. I love y'all. Links for the stuff I used is down below. I love y'all, and I'll see you next time, okay? All right, have a really good day.